Good night. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. I'm Rickford Burke in New York. Good night to you wherever you're watching from, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in, I'm getting feedback here, guys, whether it's in North America here, whether it's in Canada, Mexico, Europe. Good morning there in Europe. Good morning in Africa. Good morning in Asia. I know my friend from Japan, my friend from Java, quarantine, who is serving in the, well, his parents are from there, and he's serving in the U.S. military in Japan. Good night to you. I think your birthday is coming up. Um, Thank you for watching. I hope, what is it there? Good morning. Um, Everybody, start sharing this live. Start sharing this link like it's wildfire. Start sharing this link. It's about to get hot up in here. Share this link. Get into all your Guyanese groups. For those of you who have not done so yet, go to my YouTube page, click on the subscribe button, like both of my Facebook, like and subscribe, like and follow rather, both of my Facebook pages. Let's take some time to do that right now. This is serious business now. Guyana is at a state of war. We're coming to you live tonight as Guyana is in a state of war. Share the link, everybody. We're not talking about Ukraine. We're not talking about Syria. We're not talking about Afghanistan or Iraq. We're not talking about any other hot parts of the hot spots in the world. We're talking about the Republic of Guyana in South America, member of CARICOM. Guyana is at a state of civil war tonight, and we will bring you some really, really crucial updates. So share the link, everybody. I'll be back in just about 60 seconds. Share the link, get into all your Guyanese groups, and share the link. I'll be back. Good night again. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. Again, this is Rickford Burke here in New York. Keep sharing the link, everybody. Keep sharing this link. This is important. I have some videos I'm trying to download right now before to get it to you before we actually get into this program. Tonight, I'm proudly representing Black people. You can call me whatever you want. I am Prince Akeem tonight. I am King Jaffe of Zamunda. Rather, I am the Prince of Wakanda forever tonight. I am making no excuses. I live in America. We just celebrated Black History Month. I don't care about the PPP and how they want to categorize Black people that support each other. I am representing Black people tonight. I went today and bought this tie, right? Because I'm proud to be a Black man. And I want to tell my black brothers and sisters in Guyana, don't make no Indian racist from the PPP run you out of your country. We're going to have some fireworks on this show tonight. Share the link, everybody. I'll be right back. Keep sharing the link, everybody. Again, this is Rickford Burke in New York. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. So we have a situation in Guyana where this has been building for a while. It has been building for a while. The PPP has been conducting a Cold War on Afro-Guyanese citizens, on the black population of Guyana. And they have also been waging war on the opposition. They want to establish Guyana as a one-party state. That's how they started their term in office. They mobilized the white racists in the national community that, you know, are little cousins and nephews and so on and so forth of Jim Crow. So we have these white ambassadors who are not particularly concerned about human rights of black people. Let me be clear. Let me be unapologetically clear. They ingratiated themselves with white racists in the international community, Donald Trump, Pompeo, their ambassadors, etc. And they found themselves in office. And they came into office with two objectives. The People's Progressive Party government of Guyana came into office with two objectives. Keep sharing this link, everybody. We can preach the gospel of black interest tonight, unapologetically. I live in America, where we protect the interests of black people because we have racists like the PPP in Guyana who want to erase our history in this country. And so we have institutions and programs and laws to preserve black interests. And we need them in Guyana. I'll get to that. But we have a situation in Guyana now where the PPP wants to cancel black history. They want to erase every significant thing about black people in Guyana. They want to erase all of the history of the previous government. Why? Because they were headed by black people. Forbes Burnham, Desmond Hoyt. And the sad thing is, they have black ministers in this government who allow them to do it. Why? Because they want power. They want perceived power, as a matter of fact, because they don't have no power. They have no power. The blacks, Mark Phillips, Hugh Todd, Joe Hamilton, who used to plot attacks against the PPP when I was in Guyana as a teenager, he's now joined with them and plotting against black people in the country. Kwame Mackay, I don't even know if he's a person. Onish Waldron, Wana Jill. These guys are like Django's. They're like house slaves plotting with the PPP against black people in the country. And let me tell you, the PPP's objective is to separate Guyana. Nobody, only Jesus can come down from heaven and convince me otherwise. The PPP wants to create two Guyanas. Literally, they want to separate the country. They want to break the country up. They want to have a country that is an East Indian dynasty. And whatever else is left is for others. Because they want to preserve and ensure that the country's resources and patrimony are for East Indian people only. They come from Calcutta, the Baghdad, the last part, their foreparents. And I'm not talking about all East Indians. I'm talking about this racist set in the PPP. When they come on a ship, in the hull of a ship, as stooges from wherever they come from in Calcutta, or wherever part of India they come from, they came to Guyana and met black people, met slaves, freed slaves. And now, Jagdev and Ali plotting to run black people out of Guyana, separate the country so that they can, them and their supporters alone, can enjoy the fruits of the labor of black people. Nothing to Augusta. We go fight. The war that they have started, we will fight it. We will be the Ukrainians in the war that they have started. So today, well, even before today, you notice how they started? Exactly how they started in 1961. Arresting people when they protest, shooting and kill people, or in Boston, Kevin Andrews, have their supporters kill people, the Henry brothers, set people up. Oh, just exactly like the KKK did and Jim Crow, the Jim Crow racists in America did during the struggle for civil rights in this country for black people. They're parallels, and the PPP is imitating those parallels. They're imitating those parallels. White racists in America set up black people, hang them. Oh, you raped this girl, you're always raping some girl. You rape some white person's daughter, you get hanged, you get put in jail for life. The PPP is doing that. You notice they started, every black leader is a criminal. KKK, Jim Crow. Every black, Martin Luther King was a criminal, Jesse Jackson, everything the white Jim Crow racists did, Barrett Jagdev and Irfan Ali are doing in Guyana. They are following the Jim Crow playbook. Burke is a criminal. Norton is a criminal. Walton Desir is a criminal. Coretta McDonald is a criminal. Paul Snow is a criminal. The criminalization of black people, that's how they start. And then slowly they started to target people, put them in jail and kill them out. Now, every black person that protests, organize, they're calling them terrorists, right? And on the other hand, they have the Guyana police force and Clifton Hicken. That's why they were fighting, killing for him to be there, because they know he's a house slave of the lowest class. Corrupt. The most corrupt police commissioner in the history of the country. He's sitting there. He was involved in all sorts of shootings. Shootings in Buxton, shootings in Linden. Perjured himself before the Linden Commission of Inquiry. And I can prove that. He lied. He was asked by the commission. I reviewed the minutes today. He was asked, the commissioner, the acting commissioner, Clifton Hicken, lied on the oath, committed perjury, but was never prosecuted. He was asked if he spoke to Rohit, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, during the murder, the plotting and the conspiracy to murder the protesters at Linden. And he said no. He was asked repeatedly if he spoke to the Minister of Home Affairs, if he got instructions from the Minister of Home Affairs to shoot. He said no. They wanted to create this air, a vacuum where nobody gives no orders, nobody knows anything. We don't know who says shoot, we don't know who shoot. So he did not want to testify to the truth that he did receive instructions from the Minister of Home Affairs. So he said he never spoke to him. The commission then subpoenaed the telephone records, which showed that he was in constant communication with Rohit. The commission then called Rohit to testify, and Rohit admitted, yes, he was in communication with Clifton Hicken. He should have been prosecuted, but he was not, because the PPP was in power. And any black person that can lie and be a criminal, the PPP loves you if they can get you to use you against black people, your own people. There goes the house slave, Mr. Hicken. And then he lied again before the Commission of Inquiry into the alleged plot to assassinate President Granger. So these are the people that the PPP has in place. Keep sharing the link, everybody. Keep sharing the link. To prop up their governance so that they can implement East Indian supremacy and paramountcy across Guyana. We're going to break it up. The agenda to implement a racist system of government in Guyana, we're going to tear it apart. And every citizen in Guyana, regardless of your race, black, white, blue, pink, Amerindian, East Indian, mix, should tear it down. We must defeat these apartheid racists. We must mobilize the world to run them out of power. We must mobilize the world to run them out of power, just like they ran David Granger out of power, based on fraudulent votes. We're going to mobilize the world to run them out of power, because they have a plan to implement apartheid governance in Guyana. So for the last month, they have been intensifying their war. They know that they were planning violence. So they were intensifying the war by intimidating people, rounding people up, brand them terrorism, put out wanted terrorism bulletins for them, and then charge them. Charge them. They did that with the Henry Boys protests. You imagine their supporters murdered 2 black boys, mutilated them, 2 black innocent teenagers, mutilated them. They know who murdered the Henry Boys. The police knew who murdered the Henry Boys, but they protected them because they were supporters and financiers of the PPP. And next week, I'm going to call the names. It's going to get hot up in here. Next week, I promise I'll get some documents from the file. They can go and lock it up. I already have a conduit and the files are on their way. So we're going to reveal the names and we're going to reveal all the statements and everything in the Henry murders. It's going to get hot up in here. People in Vicinja Road, seats going to start to catch a fire. Pans on fire, seat on fire, everything. We're not going to sit back anymore and allow you to falsely frame, imprison black people in Guyana. in your civil war that you have started, the PPP. So they moved from the Henry protesters, where they charged them. They even framed one of the Henry brothers as revenge on the family for speaking out, for hiring Nigel Hughes, for bringing in international forensics, for writing people in this country. They used the police to frame one of the Henry brothers and said he committed murder of an East Indian person. You notice the kind of crimes they frame you for? Murder, terrorism. They want to hold you in jail like they did Mark Benchcott for 5 years. But this is a different generation. And don't mind how autocratic you are and how much guns you import into the country. Remember what happened in Egypt? The people brought down the Egyptian government, the Egyptian dictatorship. The people. Now, they are East Indian PPP supporters who genuinely committed acts of terror on the East Coast. I showed you last week videos of PPP East Indian supporters throwing gas on cars, brandishing guns on the street and cutlasses, and shouting, "People will die." That's not terrorism. Not one of them was charged. Not one. Not one of them was charged. But they rounded up black people in Golden Grove and charged them with terrorism because they participated in the protest or were in the vicinity of the protest. Apartheid governance. Racist. The People's Progressive Party is the most violently racist and brutally oppressive political party in the Western Hemisphere. We need a political uprising. We need a political uprising. We have to upturn the political system in Guyana that makes them so comfortable. We need the people to come out on the streets and start to protest peacefully. That is your right. And when we say political uprising, that's what we're talking about. Your right to protest against your government. But they're trying to outlaw it by labeling people who protest as terrorists and charge them with terrorism. They have no evidence. And the judiciary is encouraging it. Some judges are not, because I noticed a judge thrashed the prosecutor, the DPP, last year for holding a man in jail, for 11 years after the police framed him with a murder. And then the prosecutor came and said, "We have no evidence against this man." Prosecutorial misconduct. The prosecutor should be sanctioned and disbarred for stuff like that. Can't happen in this country. That cannot happen in anywhere in the developed world. That prosecutor would be disbarred. It is improper. It is criminal. And the DPP is going along with all of this misconduct and criminal activity by the police against black people. Share the link, everybody. Keep sharing the link. We can no longer stay quiet. The people in Guyana, it is unacceptable for you to stay quiet. Yesterday, a young lady from Haslington, I want to get her name. Her name is Robin Simon. She spoke out. She spoke out against the government attacking the Rutherford family, whose son is a national cricketer. I think that's the name. And she spoke out. She said they give some notice where I think his parents has a store or a bar nearby Haslington, and the government asked them to move and went and broke down this establishment. And she spoke out. Before that, she had been involved in the peaceful protests for justice for Quindon Bacchus, who was murdered by the Guyana police force, and the murder for which the Guyana police force lied 3 times to try to cover it up, until residents began releasing surveillance footage. And the president could not help but ask Justice William Ramlal, who's the head of the Police Complaints Authority, to investigate the matter. And Justice Ramlal found that several police officers committed murder. After the Guyana police force lied in 3 separate statements that Quindon Bacchus attacked them, Quindon Bacchus was selling drugs, Quindon Bacchus was selling guns, Quindon Bacchus attacked undercover police, it was a sting operation, all lies. Not one single person in the Guyana police force was held accountable for lying to the public. Why? Because this People's Progressive Party government in Guyana wants the police force to lie about killing Black people. They want them to lie. They want them to lie. They instruct them to lie. The government deliberately put that leadership arrangement in place to be dishonest and to protect East Indian interests. When last you saw somebody connected to the government get arrested? They knock down people, they shoot people. Once the PUP is in power, East Indian supporters and members of the PUP do not get arrested. Why? Because they put people like Clifford Hicken in there to protect their interests. We're going to come to Hicken at the end of the program. But I know they're probably taking notes. Somebody just texted me and said, boy, them police by it, they taking notes. Here we said, I live in America. Free speech. My speech is, as a citizen, constitutionally protected. I don't care what anybody in the government says. I will speak freely. I'm not afraid of anybody in the PPP. They want to war with me, then let's have a go at it. So I have no worry about the PPP. PPP can't control my speech, my friend. Can't control my speech. You can't control people's speech in Guyana either. But Guyanese allow them to do that. But I don't want to get too distracted. So this woman was involved, Miss Simon, was involved in the Quindon Bacchus protest. She didn't beat up nobody, she didn't break up nothing, she didn't burn down nothing. She was not the people we saw running around, one of the people we saw running around with cutlasses and guns in Monaco and gasoline, burning cars. She organized, or whatever she did, participated or whatever, I don't know. That's what I heard. She possibly participated in the protests. Let me correct my speech there. She possibly, I don't know. I didn't talk to her directly, but that's what I heard. But then, when the government rounded up these young men in Golden Grove and charged them with terrorism, framed them after they left the East Indians in Monrepo, run around and burn up cars and break up the market and, trying to shoot and kill people, commit real terrorism, they went to Golden Grove to punish the people. and round up these boys that they found on camera, CCC camera, TV, and charge them with terrorism. Frame them. Those charges are not going anywhere. When last anybody heard somebody that the PPP charge under the Terrorism Act or under the Cybercrime Bill got convicted? They just want to stain you, to paint you as a criminal, because their objective is to portray to the world that Black people are criminals. They're following the Republican and the KKK and Jim Crow playbook, apartheid playbook. So apparently, this young lady, in some way, spoke out about the arrest of these boys, unlawful arrest. And then she spoke out peacefully on her social media. I saw the video. She didn't threaten nobody. She just asked if this is one Guyana. And the government put out a wanted bulletin for her for terrorism. She's Black. You Black woman from Haslington, how dare you speak out against the PPP? We are ethnic supremacists in this country. We are supreme. No Black person can speak ill of any East Indian in the PPP, or else you're a terrorist, and we will get Clifton Hicken and the house slaves in the Guyana police force to charge you with terrorism. And so the police charge her with terrorism. That's past Black people. And the PPP is traveling down the road of 1961 to 1964. They achieved what they wanted then. They segregated the country. The 1961 to 1964 civil war, which we call the disturbances, civil unrest, civil war in Guyana, race war, race riots, name it what you may, achieve the PPP's purpose. Because when they started killing Black people and burning their homes, Black people escaped from those villages where they were attacked and went into villages where they felt protected. And that's why Guyana is so segregated, where you have Black villages and Indian villages and Black villages. It is the PPP that engineered that through violence against Blacks. Let it sink in. Segregation, apartheid, racial discrimination, apartheid. All of those are facets of apartheid governance. Charging Black people with terrorism, charging Black people with crimes. Having a cabal of a few manage the many. Apartheid governance. Marginalization, victimization, racial discrimination, racism, apartheid governance. That's who the PPP is. And before the Golden Grove set, they went to Mocha, where they acted like slave masters on a plantation and broke down the homes of all the Black people in Mocha, of the people who were in on the what they claim to be the part of the new road in Mocha. And none of the homes were in the part of the new homes, were in the part of the new road. Now I understand that they're dividing up lands in Mocha for their East Indian supporters. Mocha was bought by the slaves. And if the people in Mocha want PPP East Indian racists to take over their land, good for them. What can we do? What can we do? But let me talk about this issue of the PPP going and break down people's homes. and use the police to gun them down and break up their furnishings and their belongings and run them off of lands. It is a criminal act. It is not legal. It is not legal. And for all of you homeowners in Guyana, if you have PPP supporters who are your tenants and you want to get them evicted because they're not paying rent or you don't want them in your property anymore, follow the PPP's example. Go and throw their things out and break them up and destroy them and put them out of your property, because apparently the PPP believe that that is legal. As far as I am aware of the laws of Guyana, if you want to evict somebody, you have to go to the court. A landlord can't go, or a proclaimed or professed purported owner of a piece of land or property doesn't have any lawful authority to go and take your stuff and break it up and break down. No, the courts evict you off of property and off of land and out of property. The courts. So I am not sure where the PPP government gets this power from that they use to go and break up the people's home in Maka. Well, we allow them to, the people in Maka allow them to do that. They did it to Golden Grove. But you notice when they're in East Indian areas, what they do, right? They go and regularize the land. Oh, East Indians don't squat. PPP East Indians don't squat. Only black people squat. Only black people squat in Guyana. Only black people get their homes broken by this racist apartheid government. And they get away with it because there's no retaliation. We don't go to the court. We don't do anything. We don't sue them. We don't take political action, nothing. Black people in Guyana sit down and accept the abuse by this government. And so every day they push it a little further. They push it a little further. They push it a little further. Because they think black people are scared of them. Bart Jagdale and Orphan Ali and Gail Teixeira and Anil Nanala and all these people, they believe black people are scared of them because we act like that. So they think they could abuse people. And nobody must not talk. If you talk, Burke is a racist. Damn it. If standing up for black people's rights and Amerindian rights and East Indians who don't support you, then call me a racist and wear it as a proud badge of honor on this shoulder that the black slaves bequeathed to me. I wear it proudly as a badge of honor. So last night, they break down the people's home at Maka, nothing happened, you know, the PNC make a lot of noise and so on and so on, and you know, the people in Maka make a lot of noise, and after 3 days, the story done. PPP said, well, we got them black people bad, boy. We got them under subjugation. We're going to make them slaves again in this country. We're going to walk and mash them into the ground again. We will re-enslave them. We are the new plutocracy they have declared to themselves. Plutocrats. We be. They sit and they knock their glasses in Freedom House and say, yes, we get our black people bad. And we're going to take over this country and put them out. So last night, they pushed the envelope a little further. They went and broke down the PNC office in Latam, where the PNC occupied that office for over 43 years. Them said the building belonged to the government. So they can declare that any property belongs to the government. They're not seeking judicial intervention because they're above the courts and they're above the law. They're not seeking judicial intervention. So they've now escalated the civil war. It's no longer Cold War, it's hot as fire now. They declared war on the opposition, political opposition. Why? They did nothing. The political opposition did nothing in number 5 when they brutalized the protesters in Region 5 who were protesting against the Henry brothers. They did nothing in Essequibo when they were protesting for the Boston murder. Nothing at Grove, nothing at Golden Grove, nothing at Moko. There was no political consequence to the government. Now they're going to break down their office and let them. Let me tell you this. Mark my word, tonight, the second day of March in the year of 2023. The next place the PUP government is going to break and claim is Congress Place. Mark my word, they're planning it. They're planning to go and claim Congress Place belongs to them. And they're going to break it down in the PNC and do nothing, because it seems as though there is some sort of circumstances that has paralyzed the political opposition from taking political action against this apartheid government. Share this link, everybody. So, like a thief in the night, they went at 1 a.m. At 1 a.m., the chairman of the PNC informed me that they're currently breaking the office of the party. I saw a press report where a party leader in Region 9, I can't remember where I saw that, spoke to the destruction of documentation, claims and objections, and so on. They had to submit to the Elections Commission dozens of barrels of foodstuff and other material that they needed, that they had stored there to give to communities in Region 9. I want to share my screen. And show you the midnight operation when they were conducting their act of terrorism. In the middle of the night. They did that with PPP thugs who employed Venezuelans. And who we're trying to get another video. Let me show this one again. Oh, that's the same video? It's the same video. We think we have another video. Let's see if they sent it over. Oh, I guess it's the same one. I guess it's the same one. We'll work on that. There was a video with the chairman of the party in Region 9 commenting. I was trying to get that. If anybody has that video, send it to me quickly. I thought we had that. My technical guys are trying to work on that as we speak. Oh, someone just sent me a news item. Let me see if I can get that. Someone just sent it to me. Let me see if we can convert that quickly to. Okay, yes, we're getting it done. All right, so let's see. Bear with me. This is in the moment. Okay, good. So it's downloading. Thank you, guys. So let's see if we have it. Got it? Let's see if we have it. Okay, there we go.
Good morning, Guyana. We have reached the lowest ebb in the history of Lethem, where the police has been instructed to supervise the destruction of the PNCR office here in Lethem. I live 8 miles out of Lethem. I got a call from Georgetown out of my bed that the office has been dismantled. I immediately arrived here. It took me like about 15 minutes to reach here, only to observe that the roof of the building was off. The walls are now being dismantled by a known thug of Lethem, and he's been ably assisted by some Venezuelan immigrants. That is how low we have sunk today. It's a sad day in the history of Lethem. And all the talk of about one Guyana, it is only a farce. One Guyana means one Guyana for one set of people. That's what it really means. Guyana for one set of people. The sad thing though is we try to mobilize our members, but our members are sleeping. And that's another sad occasion, a sad day in Guyana. Now is when we should come out here in solidarity and enforce and stop this nonsense. The police is going to stop all of us. But it's just two of us out here, myself and George Nicholson. If we had come out here in force, the police could have stopped us. It would have been a different situation. I'm angry. I'm disappointed that this building that has been occupied by the PNCR for 47 years is now being dismantled by this government. on the instruction. The police told me personally he is working with instructions, and that nobody from the PNCR is allowed to go into that office. Well, if we were here in numbers, they would have to arrest all of us. It's just two of us out here.
That was Mr. Carl Parker, the PNC chairman in Region 9. What is the police doing dismantling the building? Somebody in the police force has to tell me where in the Constitution it says the police must be breaking down buildings of citizens in this country, in Guyana. I see them they did the same thing in Maka. That's the first issue. The second issue is, who gives this government the authority to determine who occupies land space in Guyana? Could you imagine the tragedy that would have unfolded in Guyana if the PNC members had gone out there and there was violence? They were armed and the police was armed? Could you imagine the tragedy that this government is fomenting in the country? And all of them are a bunch of cowards. They're only powerful when they have police with gun around them, you know. All of them are cowards. They're only powerful because Clifton Hicken is putting police officers, putting police lives. Policemen are complaining to us that the commissioner of police is endangering their lives by getting them involved in political conflict in the country. They're endangering their lives. They're endangering their families' lives because people are targeting them and their families. Because the police commissioner is fulfilling his puppet master's wishes. We're going to come to the police commissioner in about 5 minutes. Now, the REO for Region 9, and we saw him on a video going to confront Mr. Parker before and telling him that he's bad. He's bad. And he gonna come back and he gonna do whatever he want. He bad. This is the same area who shot a woman who rejected him. Not arrested by the police. The law doesn't apply to him because he's East Indian and he's a supporter of the PPP. Of course. So the REO issued a statement. And listen to the statement. The PNC was squatting in the government building. Be advised that numerous efforts, this is him, be advised that numerous efforts and notices were sent to the General Secretary of the Partnership for Unity in Letem location to hand over the government building in government R7 property of the government, which was occupied for political purposes. This was done because of consistent query by the Auditor General. I want the REO for Region 9 to produce the evidence that this is a government building. That's number one. And let him produce the court order that ordered the government, him, a thug, a hooligan, to dismantle this building. Man, the PNC making joke, man. Why is he even issuing a statement? Why doesn't the government issue a statement? Who gives the REO the authority to issue a statement? I thought statements come from the central government and the regional democratic council. Who gave the REO? This guy is so powerful. He's issuing a statement on behalf of the people of the region, and he's a servant of the council. He's the clerk. I heard the Attorney General in a speech telling Region 4 councillors that the REO's responsibility is to execute the decisions of the Regional Democratic Council. I want to see the decision of the Regional Democratic Council made directing the REO to go and break down this building pursuant to an order from the court. Pursuant to an order from the court. Because as far as I am concerned, only a court could order that. And I know this government think they're all powerful. Oh yeah, they're powerful. They're powerful. They can do anything. Well, then the citizens can do anything too. And somebody just sent me another, thank you guys. You can stop sending me the videos now. About 80 people send me videos. Someone sent me a news article, which is what I quoted earlier. They sent me 2 news articles. One is not relevant. Let me read the other one. Angry calls for revenge are being echoed throughout the calm night in Lethem, Region 9, as the public reacts to news that PP operatives, backed by members of the Guyana Police Force, broke down the PNCR Region 9 office in Lethem, destroying documents and furnishings in a scene reminiscent of the destruction of Afro-Guyanese homes in Mocha, Arcadia. A PNC leader in Region 9 told GNN, this is GNN News, that the party has voter registration claims and objection packages for submission to GCOM today, which should have been done today. It says tomorrow, but it means today, I guess, which were destroyed. The official also said that 25 barrels of clothing, food and other items were destroyed, deliberately destroyed, and these were for distribution in the communities in the region. Someone told a representative of GNN that the government action was an act of domestic terrorism and asserted that every PPP building in Guyana is now fair game for retaliation. The gentleman called on the opposition supporters across the country to return the favor to the PPP. I'm reading this article. Recently, several social media commenters have been expressing concern that the PPP government has been fomenting a civil war in the country, blah, 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 blah. It continued. The PPP appointed the regional executive officer of Region 4. This article pointed out, Mr. Gadraj assaulted the regional chairman in public, and the government did nothing and the police has done nothing. This article also pointed out that school children in Region 5 were attacked by PPP East Indian supporters, and the government has done nothing. Last week, PP supporters in Region 5 attacked and assaulted several Afro-Guyanese students attending the Woodley Park Secondary School. The PP and the government has refused to arrest the perpetrators. The government has also been rounding up Afro-Guyanese citizens who protest against racial discrimination and injustice by the PP government and charged them with fabricated terrorism charges. Thanks, Brian, for sending me that article. So we have a civil war going in the country. So I know we have CGID has an advisory that will go out tomorrow advising people in the diaspora not to go to Guyana because it's a security risk, advising investors not to invest in Guyana because of fermented unrest by the government, as the government tries to split the country in two. That's their objective. They want to split the country in two because we are championing equality for all Guyanese. The PPP does not believe in equality for Black people and opposition supporters. So they are fermenting, they have fermented a civil war, which is ongoing. And in the meantime, they're arming their supporters. We have information that they're arming their supporters through these security firms. Take stock of the security firms in Guyana. Most of them, 99% of them, are owned by PPP East Indian supporters, big financiers of the PPP in the private sector. And they are all gun dealers. They have license to import war weaponry. The PPP government is preparing for Armageddon against Black people. And they're positioning themselves. Right now, they have positioned an East Indian supporter to take over the army. They have Clifton Hicken, who people are saying is past retirement age, but all kind of documents are flying around saying no. I don't know, that's what people are saying. It's kind of hard to figure out when he was born because there are several documents around the place showing all sorts of dates, I heard. I don't know how true that is. I'm not making any accusations. I know when I born. So the PPP is putting their people in strategic positions because they are preparing their supporters for civil unrest in Guyana, which has now started. The PPP has unleashed violence against the political opposition. And they're doing it with the aid and full support of the Guyana Police Force. The Guyana Police Force is now officially an arm of Freedom House. Clifton Hicken has made it an arm of Freedom House. So it's now the People's Progressive Party Force. It's not the Guyana Police Force. The People's Progressive Party Force. And they're using the police force to go after Black people, charge them with terrorism, harass Guyanese in the diaspora who speak out because they can't get to kill them at home. And the police force is the new death squad. The people in Essequibo complained to the PPP government that Orrin Boston, who was a businessman, is too competitive in Essequibo against their business. The police killed Orrin Boston. The Guyana Police Force is now a part of the PPP criminal enterprise. And moving away from the civil war that is ongoing in Guyana to the role of the police. 3 days ago, CGID issued a statement, which I published on my page, condemning the police commissioner, Clifford Hicken, for being primarily more concerned with his functions as a PPP political operative than solving crime in the country. He responded by issuing a statement calling me a wanted fugitive and a criminal element. Yes, past me. The man is a dunce stug. He's literally a dunce. Can hardly write or spell or speak. He's parroting what the Freedom House tells him to do. I'm a fugitive. He does not even understand. He's so unintelligent and uneducated. He does not understand that a fugitive is somebody who has fled, who is fleeing from somewhere to somewhere else. I live in America. I haven't been in Guyana for decades. 2 decades. Because my family doesn't want me to go to Guyana. So they stayed over in Guyana and issued a wanted bulletin for me because I'm speaking out on this forum. They turn Russia. They want to reach into America to tell me that I don't have free speech rights. I dare them. So they put out a wanted bulletin for me because they said, I use a computer system to call on the people of Guyana to protest against the government. Well, I'm calling on the people of Guyana again to protest against the government. So he's using the fact that they want to infringe on my constitutional rights in America, to free speech, to put out a wanted, but to say, I am a fugitive. Well, the commissioner doesn't have any CXC. I want Jaretta, my friend Jaretta Finance, to know. She's the MP that told Kwame to shut his mouth with his 1 CXC. Well, Jaretta might have to tell the commissioner to shut his mouth with his no CXC. None. He doesn't have any academic qualifications, period. So he, as you would understand, would not understand what the word fugitive means. On his resume, he has, or his resume states that he took CXC. He took it. He took CXC. He passed not one subject. He took it. Just like you just take a bus, or just like you took a bus from home to work, he took CXC from his home to police headquarters like a bus. He took it. He took it. It was his means of transport to police headquarters. He took it. He took CXC. So he has no basic understanding of concepts like fugitive and criminal. A criminal is somebody who's involved or convicted of a crime. Not even involved. A criminal is somebody convicted of a crime, or a habitual convict. I've never been arrested, never been charged, never convicted. But let me see. Habitual criminal activity. Remember I said a criminal is somebody who has been involved in habitual criminal activity. It's the habit, like murdering people in cold blood at the backlands of Buxton, putting guns at people's heads and executing them. That's murder. That's a criminal activity. Murdering the Arokium, the gold and diamond miners from the Arokium gold mine at Christmas Falls. Is that Christmas Falls? In Upper Berbice, in Region 10. Someone remind me, text me the name of that. Lindo Creek. Lindo Creek. The Lindo Creek murder. The 8 gold and diamond miners that were murdered at Lindo Creek. That's criminal activity. Stealing over $50 million from the bank robbery in Region 6, when that money was recovered in a swamp where all of the bank robbers were cornered and shot to death, but the money never showed up. But then a certain police officer was seen with wet money because the money was recovered from the robbers in a swamp. That's criminal activity. Taking bribes, that's criminal activity. Submitting forged documents and receipts to the police finance department, that's criminal activity. So my advice to the fella is to look at the man in the mirror, because the man in the mirror is the fugitive from justice. The man in the mirror never faced justice. The man in the mirror escaped justice. And as far as I'm concerned, when last I checked, a fugitive is somebody who has escaped or is escaping justice. The fugitive is the man in the mirror. The criminal is the man in the mirror. Now let's come back to the commissioner. The commissioner is supporting the abuse of the African Guyanese people by this government. The police commissioner has abdicated his responsibility to the Constitution. The police commissioner is a political operative, not a police officer. He is partisan to the highest extent, to the point where his partisanship stinks like a rotten dead dog. He has brought the Guyana police force to a point of unprecedented disrepute. He is the most unfit, most unqualified, most corrupt person to occupy that office. And he's calling people fugitives and criminals. Previous police commissioners are probably turning in their graves that such an unprecedented, incomparable, misfit, incompetent dunce sits where they once sat. He's a disgrace to the country. He is the one that is facilitating the PPP's civil war on Black people. Somewhere down the line, I think he regrets being Black. Somewhere down the line, I think he thinks that he's somebody different. Maybe he thinks that he's Portuguese or Caucasian, that he can be the executioner of the PPP's war, or the facilitator of terroristic attacks on Black people and political opposition. I have one question for him. Does he think he will be the police commissioner for life? I heard that he wants to be somebody in the government. I guess that's his assurance. That's his passport. That's his insurance policy. But woe be unto the day when certain men no longer have power. Woe be unto the day when the God of the heavens decides to chastise the evil ones. Where would they live when they leave office? Spain? Dubai? Do they really intend to live in the society with the people that they have terrorized? Oh, woe be unto the day when they become again, yet again, a common man. Woe be unto that day. Even the people in the government. I guess they plan to stay in government for life. Because I tell you this, as far as I am concerned, there will be a change of government. There will be a change of government at some point in time. There will be a change of government. And let me tell you this. The opposition at some point in time again will be back in government. Somebody trying to say, Rick, don't say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. And if the political operatives of this political opposition, when they get back into government, if that government does not pursue these criminals in the PPP with every ounce of energy and every ounce of legal authority, they deserve to be out of power again. They deserve to be put out of power. We have to jail them, jail every one of them, run them out of their homes. Just like Barry Jagdev said, each one of them will be targeted. All of those lands that they give to their lands and oil blocks and or whatever they do or they give to their supporters should be confiscated, just like they're taking away lands from Black people. I hope to God that the next government has the political will to drive them into the ground and to treat them just like how they treat Black people and opposition supporters now, and tear down their offices and claim that it is government building, and break down the homes of their supporters and evacuate them and cancel contracts and cancel leases and cancel everything and take away all the contracts and give contracts only to their supporters. I hope to God that the next government has the political will to treat them exactly like they're treating the Guyanese people now. I make no apologies to say that. If possible, they must be exiled from the country. They do not belong in a civilized society. They are racist. They are apartheid government. They believe in apartheid governance. And it is incumbent on the opposition leader and the opposition political parties and candidates to tell their supporters and tell all those foreign investors that when they get back into power, they will do exactly what this government is doing now, because they're illegitimate, they're installed. Reverse all their decisions. Cancel all the leases. Let's run the country like that. Every 5 years, the country go forward, then it go back if the government change. That's how the people wants to run the government. And let me close by saying this. I cannot help but observe the silence, the deafening silence of the diplomatic community. And like I said the other night in my speech in New Jersey, they're silent because some of them are nieces and nephews of Jim Crow. They don't believe in the rights of Black people. That's why they're quiet. And we will renew our lobby for change. Guyanese and Caribbean Americans in America, in Canada, in the European countries, it is time we start lobbying our governments for diplomats that understand our values and are culturally sensitive. And they don't take their values and disdain for Black people to their diplomatic posts. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.